I'm seeing what, life feels like you're just trying shoes on constantly, just seeing what fits you, whether it's relationships, the people you meet, connections, even down to the angle of this camera. So it's a good segue. There's not much to put into context. I am seeing the value of just talking to people, right? Is this how people feel? I was out yesterday and I didn't come home till like 5 a.m., it's very rare for me because I don't have much of a social life. And I was experiencing how it feels like to just be out and talking to people. I've had those experiences previously, of course. However, I'm trying to get in I'm trying to let it be frequent in my life, more frequent than ever before. It still doesn't happen often, however, more than before. And I was seeing how this is how it feels like people go out. It just makes me feel like I'm actually living a life, you know? And so I just wanna, I guess, open dialogue to like something I've talked about previously is, which I don't want to sound like a repeatedly stating how important it is to allow ourselves to go out and talk to people. There's so much more barriers to that than ever before. Of course, online digital realm is a huge barrier to that, but it's necessary. It is necessary to talk to people. And I'm not one that mingles. I have to feel, I feel it out. I feel it from afar. And if I feel it out from a person, feel out a person from afar, that's when intuitively I'll get a sense. It's like I just intuitively know, do I actually want to engage in conversation with this person? And it doesn't happen often. And I was also recognizing how less interested I am to engage with people. I don't, just not impressed. But I also want to open my heart. I'm just very selective with that. I just want to know, like, do people also feel like they're living? Because in a way you are, right? You're engaging with people. You actually like just using your voice to talk, and it's like different people. I met a few new connections yesterday night, and it was just a few, like really like 3, 5, but 3 that I would want to keep in contact with. And just a few is just so fulfilling. It's so satisfying. Like, I got to know more. I've gotten to know more people. Or like, just 24 hours ago, I didn't know that they existed. And just meeting somebody that, it's like you're adding more layers to your life. It feels like you're like just the people you're connecting with, the list of people have just gotten longer, and it feels so satisfying because it can feel bland to only know like a select few people. And I'm not saying, of course, people will have a select few that they have a close bond with. However, to actually know, like, to to actually have it in your people in your contacts is so satisfying, to have people in your contacts, because it's so, like I said, it just feels so bland to only have like only your siblings to message, your sisters to message, and or like one person to two people to message. There's no one in your phone. There's no one to FaceTime or to like, hey, do you want to do this on this day? Oh, there's an event that's happening. This one person on my mind, this one friend will love this kind of event. Let me hit her up and ask her to go out with me to this event. So life just feels so bland and colorless when there's only like siblings that you're talking to, or just like one or two people that maybe you see once every couple months. That's how it's been like for me a long time, I guess, in the last few years, where I had met a few people, but like two, but I don't see them as like long term, and they're not life-giving connections. And so ever since last fall, I've been meeting more people, and I think I did create a video after I made some new connections last fall, like end of last year, and this is the second wave of that. Like last fall was like the first wave of like, oh, I met this person, like a couple, like at least 5, or a handful. And so this is second. Last night was like a second wave of that feeling, of that experience, where I met a few people, and it's been several months. I had like met a few people beginning of this year, but like it's so I guess it's like this is the third wave. And I was not expecting that. I was not expecting it. I went to a concert, HAR. Shout out if you like HAR, please comment. I like HAR, oh my gosh. That was my first concert, and like I think I went to one last year. I hardly go to concerts. They're not they're not like a favorite event of mine. I like just events that are of connection, and of course concerts are actually, but besides the point, concerts are I go either once a year, but once every 2 years, average. This is my, I think, 4th ever concert. See, my first was HR, my second was, I was gonna say Monsters of Men, and then third Lumineers, 4th Gregory Allen Azakov. Oh, it's my 5th. Wow, it didn't seem like it. Okay, I'm getting up there. I didn't get to experience concerts until like 19, I think. I didn't get to go to the movie theaters. My first time was at when I was 12. I got to see Dark Knight Rises. So I'm a very late bloomer in a lot of ways. I never went to I never left the country ever. New York is my second state. I don't count California because I was in Los Angeles for 5 days for a conference when I was 13, so I never got to actually explore. So New York is like my second state. So this is like videos for the late bloomers. Like a lot of my topics, or I just want to create a lot of conversation to comfort those people who just haven't experienced a lot of life. Like, so I really hope this reaches some people, because it's there's a lot of like unfulfillment and a little bit of emptiness when you feel like you haven't had certain experiences, and you don't have a sense of belonging at all. Like, whew. I was watching a video about Neptune being 29 degrees the next 2 years, and if you have some Pisces energy in your chart, mine is ascendant, it can have its challenges, let's just say that. So where were we? So I was so that's kind of a reflection as I'm seeing how life giving it could feel like to actually socialize. And I like socializing. Like I can feel like I have a sense I feel like okay, this kind of shown me like this third wave. Each wave has shown me that I actually like socializing, like the activity. I mean, everybody does, right? Like we're social species. I just if it just I'm selective with the people I talk to, so I'm not gonna just socialize with anybody. I think socializing can be medicine to all of us, but to some who are very extroverted and open to an array of people, for a huge variety of people, which is amazing. Maybe socializing is almost like a priority or a higher priority than others. So socializing for me, in a way it's a priority, but certain people that I just feel connected with. Like it's, how would I say, I just don't do it with anybody. I guess I will say, like, socializing I am down for, but I don't do it with just anybody. But it feels so good to do it and then do it with people that like you're really interested in getting to know. I'm like, that's how I am. Like, I'm very giggly, silly, humorous. I just feel so like excited in that moment, and my sadness doesn't feel as present anymore. Like, I was thinking about that today, and there's always like an underlying sadness that I'm learning to come to terms with. But this was a recent conversation I had with myself where I told myself, like, hey, you've been feeling sad for like all your life. You've been having this sense of sadness all your life. Let's just let it sit there. Just let it sit there and not wish for it to be any other emotion. Just let it be there. So moments where I can meet people and actually talk and like just be out socializing, sadness is not as present. And I love new. I feel like new and change kind of they dance together, new and change, right? And so I really like not anything new, but I'm a big fan of just things that are new. So when I meet new people, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much information I don't know about, I want to know about you, like, tell me about you. So that's the most exciting factor of meeting people, is because it's new to me. That person is new, or a new experience, or yeah. So how do people, I don't know what's my question is, like, wondering if there's people that have felt that way of like, wow, like, this is how it feels like to be out there and talk to people. Like I said, I was very sheltered before in my life, all my life, and so a lot of this new. This is my first time. I never consume alcohol. Like, it's very rare I consume, like maybe 4 times a year I'll have a glass. And so last night I was consuming more than usual, and And I was like, well, first of all, it was my first time actually like going to like different bars. You know, I was like wondering how would it be like to like in a way bar hop in Manhattan. I wanted to experience that before. I was like, oh, I'm just curious to see how it would feel like, how it would be like. So I did a little bit of that, which I don't really care for it. It's like kind of lame. Like in my experience, right? We all have our own experience, and one person can love bar hopping, or like love the nightlife scene in Manhattan, like all for it. Go for it. Please do what you like, what your heart desires. From my experience, like okay, I experienced that. I don't really need to do that again. A lot of times, when I experience something, I'm like, I'm good. And so, but just experiencing like actually going out and talk, like it just makes me remember, like, oh my gosh, I actually don't do that often, and that's what's kind of frightening, because I'm like, why am I not socialized? I'm a social creature. I'm a human being in this form. Like, I'm meant to talk to people. Like, oh my gosh, I don't do this. You know? Like, no wonder I'm feeling differently today. No wonder I feel like more grounded in a way, which seems like the opposite of like what someone would feel when they're going out, like, and consuming alcohol. But I think the groundedness came from fulfilling a part of my life that needs to be felt more. And that part of my life that needs to be felt more is feeling connected with people. It's a huge one. That's why loneliness is deep for me. Like, it really is, brings a lot of sadness to my life, I think. And just not, like I said, if you don't have people that you can just text, like hit up, FaceTime. I wish my phone's right there. But then it's like, there's no one seeing you. There's no one, no one's interacting with you. No one's checking up on you or wanting to no one's telling you about their day. You know, I never had a girlfriend at FaceTime. Like, and I still haven't. And I'm 24. What? It's only been my sisters at FaceTime. I've always wanted to experience. I never had a sleepover with girlfriends at my place. And I never even stayed at, actually my first time staying at a girlfriend's place was last year. I was 23, now it's just once. I've only stayed at like my sister's places, like my sister's friends' places. I was with my sister and her friend. And so I want to document that, maybe like a first ever sleepover, but that was like within my own personal, like I wasn't supposed to reveal that, but to put into context, I'm a late bloomer to a lot of things, to a lot of experiences. So where was I going with this? So yeah, to actually go out, it feels like people want to talk to me. People were complimenting my makeup and my outfit. Just a couple, but you know, you're interacting with people, and that's a big aspect of life that we all need to experience to be fulfilled. Is a sense of like interconnectedness, a sense of interaction. Like,